What's going on, guys? It's your boy Andy. Oh, excuse me, Andy the Nomad. So, one of the reasons why a lot of men leave the Western world is to not just for the cost of living. Take your dollars, take your wealth to another country where it's more affordable, but also to be able to find love, right? Because love in America is disappearing. And we just look for love in opportunities for love in other countries you know and but this has now become global. I don't want to say global, it's not global. This is a first world problem where, like, the egos of females is so high, and their demands of men is so high that what happens is that they price themselves out of the dating market, right? They end up putting their standards so high that they can't find a husband anywhere. And it's not that they can't find a husband, is that they won't date anybody that does not meet their unrealistic standards. And this is happening in China. Right now, I have not heard this happening in Japan. I think Japanese women, from my knowledge, in my experience, they're kind of fair. They're fair. In Korea, they don't seem to be having this problem very much, except the whole birth rate. It's not that people don't want to date; it's just that the cost of living is so high. But anyways, in this video that we're gonna watch, Chinese men are marrying foreign women because Chinese women are basically doing the same thing that American women are doing and putting their standards up so high. So let's go ahead and see. Here we go.
为什么现在中国男人都喜欢娶外国媳妇儿呢？
In recent years, an increasing number of Chinese men have been inclined to marry foreign brides. This phenomenon has sparked much discussion, with people wondering if this means Chinese women are inferior to foreign women. Is this trend merely a display of worshipping foreign cultures, or are there deeper reasons behind it? I have a friend who works in the wedding industry. One day, he asked me to help him, and I was shocked by the scene I witnessed. On stage, there were 6 pairs of newlyweds, and all the grooms were Chinese men, but all the brides were foreign women. I was very surprised.
I was very surprised. That's code word for I feel jealous.
After the wedding, I asked my friend about it. He told me that these Chinese men met their foreign brides mainly through introductions from friends. It is not that these men do not have the opportunity to meet Chinese women or that they are worshipping foreign cultures, but rather that foreign women have relatively relaxed requirements in marriage. They do not.
Foreign women have relaxed requirement in marriage. Maybe there's something to be learned there, maybe lower your standards. These foreign women are beating you. So what? Why are you angry at these Chinese men for choosing women that are not so demanding?
Not need a car, a house, or a high dowry, which are common requirements in Chinese marriages. In China,
See, that's the problem. A car, a house, all that stuff. You're supposed to get those things as you're getting married, because why would you buy a house if you don't have a family? I do not want to buy a house. I don't have a wife or kids. Why would I buy a house? Even if I could afford, let's say, a $300,000 house, what would I buy? It's just me. I'm living by myself with all these responsibilities, right? So you're supposed to buy a house after you get married. But if you want somebody to already have that before you get married, it kind of doesn't make sense. The purpose of a house is for a family.
many women have high expectations for marriage, often requiring men to buy a house, a car, and pay a high dowry, and some even demand their names be added to the property certificate. These high demands make it difficult for many Chinese men to bear, especially if they have to divide assets in case of divorce. Even after marriage, if a man earns little, he is blamed for not being successful, and if he earns a lot, Chinese women may complain that he does not care about the family or spend time with her. On one hand, there is the unconditional enjoyment of a man's contributions, and on the other hand, women drink poisonous chicken soup and complain about men everywhere. This risk is hard for them to accept. My friend's explanation made me understand that many Chinese women now have excessively high expectations in marriage, which makes
Kind of like American women.
Men lean towards finding partners without these additional conditions. These practical issues in marriage make many Chinese men choose foreign wives, as foreign women often admire the character and family values of Chinese.
And this is just a natural thing that happens when your own people don't want you. When the women in your country don't want you because you don't meet their standards. What else are you supposed to do? You have to leave. You have to go somewhere else where people do want you, where people do respect you. You know, this is just a natural thing that happens. Nobody respects me in my country, or my own people don't respect me. Therefore, I'm gonna go somewhere else. It's a natural thing that happens. It's not just,
Chinese men, finding them more considerate and responsible in the family. In contrast, many Chinese women have idealistic expectations in marriage.
Please,
Hold
let
on.
me join your guild.
Freaking ads.
I want to be a part of a team.
They want their partners to be handsome and cultured, know how to be romantic, and have a car, a house, and savings, while also providing them with thorough care. These unreasonable demands. Are you looking for a partner or a deity? That said, if you have such demands for men, what do you have to offer? Do you have a good income? How much savings do you have? Do you have a car and a house? It is precisely these unreasonable demands from Chinese women that lead more and more Chinese men to seek foreign wives. A house can be bought together by saving.
You know what the great thing about this is that, especially in that part of the world, like there's a lot of those countries in like southwest of Russia, like the stand countries, like what you call it, Uzbekistan or something like the stand countries that are like east of Arabia. There's a lot of single women there. There's a lot of mountains. Eastern Europe, the Philippines, a lot of women there. Even African women, if you're into that, there's Chinese going to Africa. They marry African women. South American women, the Chinese like them some Latinas too. And some women think that we are the best there is. No, you're not. People forget that they are replaceable. If you do not treat your own people right, your own men right, then they're gonna go somewhere else. You are not irreplaceable. You can be replaced. That's why you have to treat your people right. Anyways.
Saving money. And a car can also be purchased together. You are not a beggar. Why do you demand so much from men? You only keep asking for more. Friends, do you think that in the future, there will be more and more older single women in China? If it were you,
Yes, there will be, just like in America.
would you choose a foreign wife?
昨天收到了一个私信，让我不要抢中国的男人。
Yesterday, I received a private message in which someone advised me not to steal Chinese men. To be honest, I felt a bit helpless. Did I really steal a good Chinese man?
Oh wait, this woman, she's not Chinese. She looks European. She looks maybe like a little bit mixed, like half European, half Chinese. She looks more European than Chinese. Maybe Russian?
Actually, that's not the case. I remember when I first met my husband, he was very candid and told me that his family's financial situation was average and that they couldn't afford a high bride price. At that time, I didn't really care about those so-called material conditions, because what I valued wasn't whether he could pay a bride price, but the person he was. So we opted for a wedding that didn't require a bride price, which was a practical choice for us. Later, we worked together and gradually built our small family step by step. Now, some people question whether I stole a Chinese man, but I did nothing.
You can't steal somebody, like... Anyways.
Wrong. Back then, it was precisely because he couldn't afford a bride price that he chose me, and I accepted him and supported him. Is there anything wrong with that?
外国女人都跑中国来抢男人了。
Foreign women are now flocking to China to snatch men, especially
Yeah, what were you expecting?
since 2000.
Especially in Russia. Russia has a lot of single women, guys, because of the shortage of men, because Vladimir Putin keeps sending men to war. As a result, a lot of Russian women are left alone.
19, when the ratio of foreign marriages to domestic marriages reversed. Chinese men have become highly sought after in many countries. In their eyes, Chinese men are reliable, family-oriented, considerate, and loyal. The practice of monogamy, which is seen as a major guarantee of family happiness in some Southeast Asian countries, is especially appealing. For Chinese men, foreign women also represent a valuable option. They are not only independent and hardworking, but also have relatively low bride price requirements, or in some cases, no bride price at all. Compared to the 188,000 yuan or 288,000 yuan bride prices demanded by domestic princesses, this progressive marriage concept is naturally more attractive. There have been online reports of a foreign girl named Natasha who married a Chinese man without asking for any bride price. This situation, which is supposed to be a mutual agreement between families, has sparked a lot of resentment from Chinese single women.
Yeah, well, see, that's the problem. That's the problem. It's like you're asking for too much. So in China, the bride price is like it's a price that a man has to pay up front to the family. Correct me if I'm wrong. Okay, I'm not Chinese, but for my understanding, if I'm wrong, comment below and tell me if I'm wrong or not. From my understanding, the man has to pay a bride price to the family in order to marry the woman. And sometimes the bride price is way too high. Some men can't afford it. So when you have, if you're a Chinese guy, you have this Russian woman. She comes to you and says, I don't care about a bride price. I just want to be with you, showing real love. Who you're gonna choose? You're gonna leave your culture, bro.
These women have even angrily demanded that foreign girls leave China and stop snatching their men. They often require the man to own a house and car, provide a bride price, and be humorous, optimistic, and ambitious. The discontented women seem to overlook the reality. With over 100 million single men in China, how could foreign girls possibly be snatching the exact man they like? In response to such accusations, foreign women have not left, but rather prompted some Chinese men to abandon their last hopes and seek partners in places like Nepal. In these areas, the average male salary is comparable to that of China in the 1990s, with a monthly income of 2,000 yuan considered middle class. Chinese men arriving there are seen as wealthy benefactors. As long as they are willing, there are almost no reasons for the locals to refuse them. This situation is reminiscent of the decades-old scenario where Hong Kong men outperformed mainland men. At that time, mainland people saw Hong Kongers as all being wealthy and well-off. They chose mainland women because they were dissatisfied with local girls' dual standards of being both independent and demanding financial stability from men. Due to Hong Kong's long-term
Yeah. So there's this whole thing. Yeah, yeah, yeah. See, men always find a way. Men always find a way. Oh, the local girls don't like me. I'm gonna go to the homeland. You're a black man in America. Oh, the black women don't want me. They think I'm a dusty, whatever. Let me go over to Thailand. Let me go over to Mexico. Let me go over to Colombia. Men always find a way, and it usually works out much better than the women.
Western cultural influence while still being rooted in traditional Chinese culture. Hong Kong girls had a contradictory mindset of wanting men to be both independent and financially well off. Wise Hong Kong men thus chose a new path, marrying mainland women. Now, mainland men are pursuing more cost-effective marriage options. In essence, marriage is an economic transaction. In today's marriage market,
Yeah, it's an economic transaction, meaning that there's no love involved. And we realize that it's like there's no love here. What the heck? I might as well. This is why some men kind of like start rationalizing, pay for play, if you know what I'm talking about. Because if relationships are so transactional, why even bother? That's no different than me going to a store, buying a computer and giving cash to the cashier.
which is in short supply, men actually hold the upper hand. If the
Yes, men do hold the upper hand, especially when dating outside of the community. Men do hold the upper hand.
conditions are too harsh, they will naturally shop around elsewhere. The current distorted marriage market
And this is exactly how women like make themselves single, because it used to be that if you were poor, if you're a man and you're poor, you have no skills, then you end up single, right? But you can easily, as a man, you can easily, like, add value to yourself by learning skills and learning new things. That is not the same for women. Sadly, it's not the same for women, because the things that men want in a woman is not the same that women want in a man.
Indeed requires a reform by men.
Okay, so this, I believe this woman here, she is from Russia and she lives in China. And she's taking one of those guys from these Chinese ladies.
In my previous video, I recommended Chinese men to seek spouses in Russia because the living pressure there is relatively lower compared to China, and Russian women usually do not require dowries or substantial savings and have lower demands for marriage. As a result, I received many private messages from Chinese women criticizing me, saying, "You foreign girl, what are you doing? Why are you trying to take our Chinese men? We don't have enough of them ourselves." Oh, I understand now. I was wrong. I apologize.
外国女孩正在用廉价彩礼冲击中国市场。
In recent years, foreign women entering the Chinese market with lower bride price costs have sparked discussions about whether international marriage policies should be relaxed. Some argue that...
Okay, so this is something that always happens. So women start seeing men leave the country to marry women from other countries. And then what their women want to do is that they want to change the laws, they want to change the rules to prevent men from leaving and finding happiness. You know how messed up? Did you realize how messed up that is? It's happening, what was it? I think it's happening in Sweden. There was like a lot of Swedish men that were bringing in a lot of Thai women from Thailand into Switzerland. It was Switzerland and Sweden. And then the Swedish women they were like, hey, we cannot let these men just keep bringing in these women from other countries. Why not? Why not? You can do the same. So just because you don't like men leaving, now you want to change the rules?
Allowing more foreign women to become Chinese spouses could alleviate the marriage difficulties faced by rural men, as the domestic demands for bride price, houses, and cars make it difficult for many to afford, resulting in extremely high marriage costs. However, there are also many opponents who believe this could disrupt China's matchmaking market. Many men who have already married foreign women have come forward to say that foreign brides, especially women from Southeast Asia, are hardworking and have lower demands, making them a good choice for rural young men. This is because the domestic requirements for bride price, houses, and cars are extremely burdensome, making marriage equivalent to exhausting all savings and family assets.
Yeah, see, and this is why foreign women are going to win, because if a foreign woman, she doesn't require all of these upfront fees, which are no different than prostitution, the foreign women are going to win, because a Chinese woman requires all of these things, and then the Russian women just say, I don't need all of that. I just want to marry you. Let's go get an apartment. Let's have some kids. You work your job. Maybe I'll get a part-time job, and then that's it. But, these chicks, they just make it absolutely, this is horrendous, man. This is the same thing that's happening here in America. It's like women, they don't want to be nice to you, but at the same time, they want to control you, tell you what to do, and prevent you from leaving the country. Right? And then... and then they don't want to date you unless you're making $100,000, $1 million a year. But then they get mad at you when you marry a Mexican woman or a Colombian woman that doesn't have those requirements.
Marrying foreign women is a feasible option due to these high domestic marriage costs. In fact, foreign women marrying in China is not a new phenomenon. Many Chinese men have married foreign brides several years ago. Chinese men have a good reputation internationally for being hardworking, ambitious, and family-oriented.
That is true.
For Southeast Asia, a monthly income of 5,000 yuan is considered high, so these women have lower demands for living conditions and do not require houses, cars, or bride prices, as long as the man treats them well. In contrast, some Russian women's families even give cars, houses, or land as gifts during marriage. In China, due to the long-term excessive adulation of women by capital,
Some women's standards for choosing a spouse have become unrealistic, making it difficult for men with a monthly income below 10,000 yuan to succeed in the matchmaking market. Nevertheless, marrying
I don't know how much 10,000 yuan is to the American dollar, but I imagine that even in yuan, uh, you know what? Yeah, 10,000 yuan, that would be like what? Like maybe like 3,000, 4,000 American dollars, something like that, if I'm not mistaken.
foreign brides also comes with issues such as language barriers, cultural differences, varying dietary habits, and incompatible mindsets, all of which need to be carefully considered.
Those things can be worked out, especially when it comes to love and marriage. A lot of people are willing to compromise.
In the national regulations, foreign spouses who marry a Chinese citizen cannot work for 5 years, and obtaining Chinese citizenship is also very difficult. Although I haven't looked into these provisions in detail, I see many women mentioning these regulations, believing that they are actually an obstacle for Chinese men to marry foreign women. They interpret these regulations as China not allowing or welcoming foreign women as spouses, viewing these clauses as restrictions against foreign brides. However, I think this interpretation is not entirely accurate. For instance, in the United States, if you marry a local citizen, you can obtain U.S. citizenship, and if your child is born in the U.S., they automatically acquire U.S. citizenship.
Mm-hmm.
In contrast, obtaining Chinese citizenship is much more difficult. If marriage could easily lead to Chinese citizenship, it would create severe loopholes, making it easy for ill-intentioned people to exploit the trust of Chinese men to obtain citizenship. These regulations are actually in place to protect local citizens' interests and to screen out applicants who do not meet the criteria. Regarding the rule that foreign spouses cannot work for 5 years, this period is just enough to handle family matters, such as having children and building relationships. You and your spouse can use this time to establish your relationship. After the child is born, you can also use this time to properly nurture the child. 5 years can be fully utilized for these purposes without the need to mandate foreign spouses to work. Moreover, foreign brides generally do not need to pay a bride price. You can use the money originally intended for the bride price to support your wife and child. This arrangement is entirely reasonable. To be honest, no one can stop you from marrying a foreign wife. It's your freedom to choose whom you marry. However, you need to understand that whether you marry a local or a foreign woman, the prerequisite is having a certain level of economic strength and foundation. Without money, it's hard to marry either a local or a foreign wife. In our group, many sisters have mentioned that Chinese men who want to marry...
Yeah, but yeah, and you need to have, some type of economic security, a decent income. But women from other countries, they don't have the same amount of requirements. That's what you don't understand. In China, the requirement is just way too big, way too much. Way too much. And so men are like, you know what? I'm going to look somewhere else. It happens all the time.
Marry Southeast Asian brides also need to spend quite a bit of money, at least around 200,000 yuan, with a significant portion going to intermediaries. Here's a friendly reminder to Chinese men. Many foreign women might already have husbands in their own countries. They might collaborate with groups to use...
Okay, hold on a second. I know what she's doing. What she is doing is like she's focusing on all the negatives, right? On all the negatives so that the Chinese men don't leave. So when somebody doesn't want you to leave, they're gonna look at other countries. They're gonna be like, oh, well, what if this happened? What if this happens? What if this happens? Well, you as the man, you gotta go and find out for yourself. But like women that are jealous, they're gonna tell you of all the negative things that could happen if you leave. Oh, right. And there's always gonna be negatives. Look, you're not gonna have everything. You're not gonna have everything, and that's still a realistic way of looking at it. But again, these people, they'll only focus on the negative because they don't really want you to leave.
Marriage as a pretext to scam you out of your money. When searching for a foreign wife,
Everything's
you
a scam.
must be cautious. Do not...
Okay, scam you out of your money, and you know what? Yeah, some people will fall for scams. But in your own country, when there's a bride price, a what you call it, a startup fee, an upfront fee to get a wife, How is that any different? You're paying somehow. My goodness.
Naively believe that all foreign women adhere to professional ethics. Some may disappear after receiving the money, and foreign women can be very adept at scamming, even more so than domestic women. In the end, you might not even find
That
out where
sounds
they
like jealousy
went.
to me.
You'll only be left feeling regretful.
Marrying a foreign wife brings some obvious benefits. First, foreign wives usually do not require a bride price.
What did I just say? What did I just say?
In many parts of China,
This lady, she looks like she's from Russia.
marrying a wife
Well, then again, China's right next to Russia, so.
often involves paying a high bride price, which is a significant financial burden for many families. Marrying a foreign wife can avoid the pressure brought by this traditional custom. Secondly, an important benefit of marrying a foreign wife is the possibility of having mixed-race children. Mixed-race children often have unique appearances and are generally more attractive than typical children. This not only makes
That is true. That is true, especially like in Japan and the Philippines. They like the idea of mixed race children because they usually come out very, very attractive. This is very true, man. Like one mixed race that I find very attractive is Africans, like black African and Asian. Like half black, half Asian women are absolutely stunning.
you feel proud but also earns the admiration and envy of those around you. Your friends, family, and even neighbors will consider you to have great taste and ability, as finding a foreign wife is not an easy feat. Moreover, marrying a foreign wife can significantly improve your foreign language skills, especially in speaking. The opportunities for communicating with foreigners will greatly enhance your language.
Okay, so I want you guys to realize something. You see how he's like pointing out all of the positives, and the other girl, the one before this guy right here, she was talking about all the negatives. But he seems very happy, doesn't he?
Language proficiency, which is beneficial for personal career development and social skills. Additionally, opportunities to travel abroad or visit relatives with your foreign wife will increase, broadening your horizons and enriching your life experiences. Currently, China's gender ratio is severely imbalanced, with over 30 million single men. Living without a partner is often considered incomplete, and this situation negatively impacts social stability and harmony. Marrying foreign women can effectively alleviate the single status pressure on Chinese men and help improve the gender ratio imbalance.
Ooh, look at that.
Therefore,
They're so
such
cute.
marriages should be encouraged and supported to promote overall social harmony.
In China today, solving the problem of older single men in rural areas has become an urgent challenge. Recently, a professor from Xiamen University proposed a bold suggestion. He candidly mentioned that we should consider opening up international marriages, encouraging young men in China to look for brides from Russia, Vietnam, and Pakistan. As soon as this suggestion was made, it sparked a heated debate online. Some people support the proposal, believing that Vietnamese brides are hardworking and simple, which can save the cost of buying a house and car, making it ideal for a stable life. In rural China, many people earn less than 50,000 yuan per year, but wedding costs are often overwhelming, leading many to consider finding a foreign wife. However, many others disagree, arguing that language and cultural differences with foreign brides might lead to ongoing disputes.
No. Again, when it comes to love, when it comes to marrying somebody from another culture, because it's love, people tend to work those things out. I don't understand how, but I mean, actually, I do because I've dated Japanese women in Filipinas. It's just that, yeah, there's cultural differences and different habits, but because you two are in love, those things are worked out. Things tend to work out. I don't really know how to explain it, but because love is involved rather than materialism, it changes things. It changes people, and it's just better. I don't know how to explain it, but love works.
They believe that when choosing a spouse, men should not only consider cost but also compatibility. This debate continues with no consensus reached.
All right, I'm going to stop it right there. I'm going to stop the video right there. If you guys want to check out more of this, go to China Unvarnished, the YouTube channel. So yeah, so some people say that what's happening in America is global, like, you know, the dating around the world is absolutely horrible. And really, it's only horrible in first world countries. Look at the top 10 countries that have the most economic power, like America, Canada, China, England, Germany, Korea, South Korea. Those are the countries that are struggling with dating for various different reasons. But America, thus far, is the worst. If you leave your first world country, so let's say the Philippines or somewhere else, or like, I don't know, Mexico, it will be easier to find love, you know, and not have so much of these materialistic demands. So yeah, I think if people do it that way, then the world will be a much better place. Anyways, that's going to be it for this video. Make sure to subscribe to the channel, hit the notification bell for future notifications. Guys, it's your boy, Andy the Nomad. Make sure to subscribe to the channel, like the video, comment below, tell me what you think, and I'll see you next time. Godspeed, baby.